Welcome to the Real World Blockchain Podcast, where we help businesses understand how cryptocurrencies and the blockchain industry can fuel their businesses. This episode is brought to you by Web3 Enabler, the first and only Web3 payment solution in Salesforce. I am Gauthier Lamothe, your host, and here today with my partners in crime, Niles Lee-Smith, our blockchain connoisseur, Zoe Braiterman, our community techie, and Rebecca Kaplan, our UX and marketing specialist. Hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
I'm terrific. I'm wonderful. And today is the day we're talking about a new update of Ethereum. So some people lose track. Have you guys heard about the Dencun update?
Yeah, this is something that I know was slated for late last year, but due to technical difficulties, it's been pushed to now March of this year, which is very exciting.
Yeah. So this is going to happen very soon. And one interesting thing here is that Ethereum is going to be able to enable sharding. So for our listeners who don't know what sharding is, basically it means splitting the data sets and putting each category of data on one server in order to treat them, to basically manage them more efficiently because everything is stored in the same place. So one algorithm can take care of the same data. Am I precise enough, Zoe? Because I'm speaking under your control.
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially the gist of it. And the important parts are that you're decreasing costs of transactions as well as data availability. And that's essentially the main objectives of any CIO.
Wonderful. And so, of course, what we can remember is the pain we had. Rebecca, you told me earlier that you had experienced many disappointing transactions on the Ethereum network because of transaction fees. Do you have some cool anecdotes about that?
Yes, it's just interesting because even just the other day I was trying to purchase something, and it was $25, so yeah, equivalent of each, and there was a $75 gas fee. So with networks like Ethereum, where high demand leads to higher fees, you see problems like this, right? So anytime we're kind of focusing on improvements that make scalability and efficiency a priority, then we're removing barriers, right? Like affordability. So it's exciting to see that there's progress in the space, and yeah.
Interesting. And indeed, that's the typical problem with these huge and complex blockchains. Bitcoin is very simple. It's like an old car that you can just fix by just hitting it with a hammer. And Bitcoin is elegant because it's simple and rustic, but you can also not do anything with it. So that's why you have to have products like Ethereum, but they're not super scalable. Niles, what do you think about that?
Yeah, this is moving forward with the Ethereum roadmap and making rollups front and center for scalability. And with this upgrade, we are going to see cheaper transaction fees specifically for rollups, which will encourage users to start moving some of their transactions off the main chain of Ethereum and onto the rollups that we love, such as like Arbitrum, Optimism, based with from Coinbase. And we're going to start seeing a fragmentation of liquidity that the community will have to come up with a solution for. But this is the trade-off that we're going to have if we want to go and when we're buying something for $25, not get priced out with gas fees.
For our listeners who do not know what a rollup is, basically this is some kind of a secondary blockchain that processes transactions away from the main network in order to reduce transaction costs. And obviously it does not suffice at the moment because we need a bit more of these things in order to reduce transaction fees on Ethereum. But that's basically what we're very happy about here. And in our little world of crypto payments, that's quite cool because that means more payments on on blockchains that are very complex and interesting. Moving on to the next news. Anyone using MetaMask here?
Yes.
Yeah, same thing. If I have did you drink water today? Of course. So everyone knows what a MetaMask is.
Yeah.
Funny thing, I had a friend at the time. She told me, "Oh, I didn't know which wallet I had to choose in order to start investing in crypto, but you know what? I took MetaMask because I loved the little fox. It was cute." And I thought, like, that's good in terms of PR and marketing, but that's a terrible way to decide. But okay, so did you guys know
Most
that?
people make decisions like that, though.
I know,
It's
I know.
a presidential election, so
I know. Actually, yes, we know that people also vote because they have an emotional feeling after a presidential debate in any country that happens like that, and we know that people sometimes choose stuff just because. So they choose products just because the advertisement was wonderful. So that's life. But still, MetaMask is a serious product, and so they started a deal with Robinhood, and so basically now we can on-ramp and off-ramp. There's a feature on MetaMask that will be available, and that basically allow MetaMask users to purchase digital assets using directly, a direct order flow from Robinhood. So, what did you guys think about that?
yeah, I think that's really exciting. I think partnerships are so important for brands, right? It can help you reach new markets. So there's always something really exciting that comes out of a partnership. But this one in particular, because it's like bridging the gap between like conventional financing and Web3. So now users that maybe aren't as tech savvy are getting this opportunity to interact with the space through an app that they love, that they already know how to use, right? So this is awesome for the space, and I hope we see more partnerships like this are crossing over between like what we're using today in Web3, because I think it could really help the space just like grow and expand.
Interesting. What it makes me think of is that every time we were at conventions with Zoe, every time we were talking about Web3 enabler, the questions we got were mostly revolving around one key pain point, which was, how do you guys practice on ramp and off ramp? Okay, I get paid in stable coins from for my business, and how does my business convert that in something else that I can deposit in the bank in my legal jurisdiction? And so this is happening. There are many solutions, and this bodes well for the blockchain in the payment industry. Niles, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, absolutely. Just sort of highlighting on some of the things that Rebecca was saying. To us being in the crypto world for so long, MetaMask is easy and great. But honestly, it still has some things to be desired. And Robinhood, their UX is phenomenal. And they are really the gateway for a lot of young investors because it was so easy to set up an account, to start buying stocks, and for better or worse, get into options, and like that just blew the door open in something that was a little mystifying to a lot of people as far as traditional investments. And now that they're getting into the game with crypto, I'm interested to see like, where does this go and how much better can the user experience be for MetaMask and these other projects that are starting to work with Robinhood Connect.
I think Robinhood for traditional finance and MetaMask for crypto specific, they really are aligned in empowering the individual with the custodial aspect. So just, continuing to do so with crypto and having them aligned just really targets the same user base and empowers them even more.
Fascinating. So basically, everyone benefits from this. This is a win-win for everyone. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right.
And I mean, I haven't used Robinhood myself, but I imagine that, it enhances usability by a landslide.
I can imagine that as well. I need to do that. I'm more an eToro guy myself because Robinhood is not very well known in France. So that's more because of that. And so now, please allow me to brainstorm with you guys, because this is a recurring pattern. Moving on to the next topic and last topic of the day. And that's quite funny. I think we need to have some kind of a gimmick or a jingle because, my dear friends, this is the time of the scam of the week. And, there are so many of them in the financial world. And so, of course, by definition, in the crypto world, so that, it's hard to choose them. But this one, Rebecca, you were the one sending me that. The amount of money that's been looted was so high that it was very easy to pick this one. So let me read the title of Yahoo Finance and let's see your reactions for those who don't know. South Korean crypto executives apprehended for allegedly looting $828 million worth of crypto. Woo!
Yes.
So
that is some serious.
Yeah, so the company is named Haru, so they are a South Korean company, and last year in June they paused their withdrawals and deposits for their customers, claiming that there were issues with partners and laid off employees. So basically, this was very suspicious, and that kind of pattern usually indicates a rug pull. So basically, you're trying to leave with the money of the people. So it would have been a Korean FTX. And so the prosecutors have accused Haru executives of illegally taking money from their customers from 2020 to 2023. So that's, quite a huge span of time. So what do you guys think about that one?
Yeah, it's a lot of money. And we've touched on this in previous podcasts, but I think it does signal mainstream use of crypto, which on the other side of the coin is exciting, even though, it's making it into our crypto crimes segment of the podcast. But yeah, I think, we want to look for the silver lining. It's becoming more mainstream, which is cool, which is great. But obviously, we don't want to encourage people to.
No, well, that's a good news and a risk. That means that we as an industry have to take care of the bad actors to make sure that that the amount of bad actors doesn't go to zero, because nobody is able to do that, but at least to keep the amount of bad actors as low as it is in other industries. I'm not looking at you, finance. There are many bad actors there, but let's talk about other sectors such as AI or I don't know, banking or anything with a reasonable amount of honest people. And that means that basically now everyone is taking the problem seriously. Niles, what do you think about
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, one of the questions I have is, when did they take the snapshot for that 828 million? Because from 2020 to 2023, that could be anywhere from like $500 million to probably like over $1 trillion, right? Or I mean, $1 billion, right? Like that. The market fluctuated so much. Especially if you're playing with crypto. I think that's pretty interesting. But honestly, this just seems pretty straightforward embezzlement, and more regulation and holding people accountable is what we have to do. But as you've been mentioning, there's going to be bad actors, and it's going to be something that's a little tough to ever stamp completely out. But because we're a crypto podcast, this is where we can talk about. If you're going to be listening to something about food, I'm sure that somebody else is going to be talking about things that are going wrong there.
Oh, absolutely. And same thing, if you were a yoga teacher, you would talk about sometimes the bad actors who are poorly trained or those who are basically scamming people. And same thing if you were a painter or anything like that. But what I find positive here is that, many countries are trying to at least regulate the bad actors. I'm not a big fan of the regulations when it's done by an informed people and by people trying to kill an economy without thinking of the consequences of the regulation. But I do think that it's a good thing if the product is mainstream enough so that people, in governments, in high instances, think that it's a good idea to put an eye on it and to keep an eye on it and to just regulate that, at least to prevent people from getting scammed. And I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen with many other industries. So that's quite an important decision to make from executives and from lawmakers, basically.
Right. Yeah. And as far as implications for, consumer and public trust, just keep in mind that, again, it's really no different. It's not specific to this industry. It happens anywhere. It's just a matter of how.
Absolutely. And that's why I think we're going to have to find our jingle in order to to basically play a little tune every time I'm talking, announcing the scam of the week. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your advice and for your point of view. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Real World Blockchain Podcast, brought to you by Web3 Enabler. Episode notes and disclaimers can always be found below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. You can join us on Twitter, Discord, Telegram, and whatever you want. We will see you next week with more blockchain and crypto payment news.